All right. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome. We're going to start the event in a moment or two, so please get ready to begin. All right, well, I think we have just about everyone here. So hello and welcome. The Jacobstown Initiative is very excited to host the Discussing Software Engineering Industry Panel event. Thank you for joining us for today's event, put on in partnership with Triton Software Engineering and participation from Verimatrix and GCAS Incorporated. My name is Emma Jerez, and I'm the Jacobstown Director for Tech San Diego. Before we jump in, I'd like to say a couple things about Tech San Diego and today's event. Tech San Diego is a nonprofit that works with small to mid-sized companies in the San Diego region. My role is to work with student organizations to plan events, such as this one, and inform students of opportunities in our local tech ecosystem, such as internships or job postings. We offer several resources on our website, such as a comprehensive regional tech directory, which outlines who is hiring in the region, and our Campus Connection newsletter, which highlights upcoming JTI events and promotions. I encourage you all to check out the resources on our site at techsandiego.org and make sure you are subscribed to our Campus Connection newsletter so you do not miss out on important information. If you have any ideas for events or topics you would like to see featured on our podcast, please reach out to me at emmajerez@techsd.org. You will be able to find all of this information in the chat section, so please feel free to check it out after the event. So for a few notes about today's event, I've worked closely with Anushka, Varun, and members of TSE to facilitate an interactive panel discussion. After Anushka and Varun introduce themselves, we will open up to a presentation from Verimatrix, and then I will open up the panel discussion with assistance from Varun. I will ask questions centered around the panelists' roles and careers in San Diego, while Varun will ask more technical questions. Please feel free to send questions in the chat throughout the event, and we will do our best to answer and ask each one. With that said, I welcome Anushka and Varun to say a few words about TSE and introduce themselves.
Hey, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Emma. So before I start, I just want to thank the panelists for giving us their valuable time today and also the attendees for joining us. My name is Anushka, and I'm currently training to be VP Internal of Triton Software Engineering. And before we begin, I just wanted to briefly introduce Triton Software Engineering by reading our mission statement. And so Triton Software Engineering is a multidisciplinary student organization at UCSD. We partner with nonprofit organizations to design and develop software pro bono for social good while giving our members practical real-world experience. If you align with our mission, we would love to have you be a part of TSE. Currently, our applications are closed, but we recruit every fall, so please check back at our website at tse.ucsd.edu then. And yeah, thank you.
Hey everyone, my name is Varun. I am, like Anushka, training to be the next VP External for TSE, which I will start in winter 2021. And I want to also thank the panelists and the attendees for being here. And thanks to JTI for organizing this event with us. Really excited.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Anushka and Varun. I'm excited to introduce our guests from Verimatrix and GCAS Incorporated this evening. Joining us today, we have Charles Wang and AJ Ahuja, who are data engineers at Verimatrix, and Thomas Sibel, CEO of GCAS Incorporated. I welcome you all to introduce yourselves. Charles, I will have you start, followed by Ajay and Tom.
Cool. So I'm Charles. I currently work as a software engineer on the cloud team in Verimatrix. So I just joined recently 2 months ago, but previously I worked at Oracle for a few years, and then I moved to Boston and worked at a startup incubator called Kogo Labs. There I was a data engineer, and then now I'm back in San Diego, joining on the cloud team again, innovating on the multi-DRM product, which is digital rights management software in the cloud. So that's where continuing my career, and hope I could be of help and answer all your questions.
So would you like me to go? I will speak. This is Tom Savell. I'm with a company called GCAS Incorporated. We're located in San Marcos. Been in business for a very long time. GCAS Incorporated was founded or incorporated in 2000, but I was the founder, and it was started in 1981. I'm sure all of you remember that. That year was a very good year. The company does artificial intelligence software. And particularly, we use statistical techniques for forecasting future events. That includes the whole gamut from just data analysis and predictive data analytics, all the way through simulation and modeling optimization techniques, etc. We also have some neural networks effort as well, and that is something that is being pursued. The applications are centrally done for the Department of Defense. We do have a commercial side that sells accounting software, so it's quite diverse in that sense, but it's a very sophisticated accounting software that government accounting, the people who are vendors to the federal government have to apply special rules, and so this is a rule-based system that helps them with their techniques. I'm very excited to be here and hope that I can help you all as well. AJ?
Thank you, Thomas. Hello, everyone. I'm Ajay Ahuja. I work as a data engineer at Verimatrix, and I've been working here for past 2 years. My core expertise being data warehousing, big data analytics, and here at Verimatrix, I've been working closely with different video content authority system teams and VOD teams, video on demand teams, and mobile app teams to deliver analytics on top of the products. I'm here open for questions that you have, anything related to my field or in general with respect to software engineering or data engineering. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Well, thank you all for being here. We really appreciate your help and support and informing all of us about what you do. So without further ado, if you'd like to begin your presentation, and then we can go from there.
All right. So let me start off with our company's mission. We protect digital content applications and deliver with intuitive, people-centered, and frictionless security. Leading brand turn to Verimatrix for securing everything from premium movies to live streaming sports or any sensitive financial and healthcare data. We also do mission critical mobile applications. We also provide security around mobile applications, and we partner to get market faster, scale easy, protect valuable revenue streams, and win new businesses. We have more than 1,000 customers around the globe, and our global presence. Okay, here it is. We have primary offices in San Diego, France, and Germany. We do have people working in different locations in United States and Europe too. We do have offshore offices in India as well. And just to give a brief walkthrough of our product line. We deal in video content, Internet of Things, application and software, both in health and financial services. And our market focus is media, entertainment, financials, Internet of Things, healthcare, mobile application security, automotives, video service providers, gaming and esports. So our portfolio current protection, we do have on the video and streaming side, we have VCAS, Video Content Authority System, multi-DRM, embedded DRM, watermarking, and content monetizing, TV, everywhere authentication, and then on top of that, we provide solutions of analytics on these products. And On the application shielding side, we have code protection, we have mobile payments, and we do have white box, Verimatrix white box, and App Shield for Android and iOS devices. Customers and media partners, we do have we serve over 1,100 customers and partners across 120 countries, including some of the world's most admired brands, as you can see over here: Mastercard, Visa, HBO, Altibox, Huawei, Viscom, and a lot more. Then we do have quite a market presence. We are leader in what we do with respect to video content authority system and video content security. We were awarded as 2020 Best of the Show award for Verimatrix GCAS 5 for DVB, and then we do have the Steve's Award under the customer satisfaction category. So this is a brief about Verimatrix that I have. Any questions with respect to what we do, or you would like to know anything about Verimatrix?
Yep, so if you have any questions at this time, please feel free to either unmute yourself, or if you'd like to send a question. Sorry about that, technical difficulties. So if you have any questions that you'd like to ask at this point, please feel free to unmute yourself, like I failed to do so moments ago, or you can send it in the chat, and then we will get to your questions. So thank you for that presentation. It was really informative. And from here, we're going to start asking some questions.
So, would you like me to present our company's capabilities?
Yes, definitely.
You'll have to allow me to share my screen.
All right. All right. Just sent it.
Okay. So let me get this in full mode so you can see it better. Or I'll just drag and peek. So the company, as I mentioned in my introduction, has been in business for quite some time, and I can't seem to get this thing to get big. Oh well. We were incorporated in 2000, and we are a small business. A government contractor. We specialize in predictive data analytics and various AI methods, and generally we use statistical techniques. Our expertise is in engineering and accounting and project management. We've had a number of commercial ventures over the years, and I will discuss some of those. But we do the full gamut from, it's a shame this thing can't get bigger. Anybody has a suggestion, it would be helpful. Here it is at the bottom. So we can see it better now?
Yep, looks great.
All right. So we do everything from simple statistical reports for our customers all the way through stochastic optimization. A large portion of the effort currently has been in the area of simulation and modeling. That we have a number of projects in that area. We use a great variety of AI methods for these modeling efforts. Everything from Bayesian networks and all the way through optimization and genetic techniques for the various solutions that we come up with. This is our accounting product. We have a whole suite of products. These are used by vendors into the federal government. If you are a government contractor, you have to do some special jumping through hoops in order to be qualified for doing business with the government. But probably more important is a lot of our data analytics customers, which include both the government and commercial. And this is a list of those customers in our base. Our efforts have been specific to using AI tool development. We have developed an extension to Bayesian networks that utilize higher order uncertainties in the propagation of the uncertainty through the network once you model it. We do a lot of simulation and modeling, as I mentioned. We have workstations here that utilize parallel processing using GPUs for this. Some of the applications include radar, acoustics, tracking, vibrations. A lot of things that change dynamically with time are of concern to our customers. But we also do maintenance, where we try to predict when things will fail once they're deployed in the field, whether it's an airplane or truck or ship or a train. That is a big deal to try to anticipate and reduce what is called the life cycle costs of the products that are out there. We also do a lot of work in planning and scheduling. This involves anticipating where there might be conflicts when you're working on very, very large projects, that you have what are called conjugation of efforts that cause conflicts between the tasks that are being done. And this all has to be anticipated and scheduled out. In medical systems, we do a lot of work. One of the more exciting ones that we did a few years back was to develop for the military, a concern has to do with the life signs, of the soldier in the field. That would be that they are developing and will be using in the near future smart uniforms that will be measuring the life signs, that's the heart, the breathing, etc., to know how the individual soldiers out there are doing in a combat situation. And that was kind of exciting. Again, as I mentioned previously, we do a lot of work in structural dynamics and control systems and acoustics, vibration, radar systems, etc. So these are some of the areas that we do work in, and I can answer any questions that you all might have as we go along, and I'll try to give you some advice as to how to be a good programmer and how to be a good system analyst in the future. Thank you. We can dispose of my sharing of the screen.
All right.
Thank you.
Yep, of course. Well, thank you for your presentations. They were both very informative and created a great picture of both of your companies. So right now we're going to open up to some questions that we've had submitted from some students. So the first question is catered toward Charles and AJ. So the first one is, what led you to a job at Verimatrix, and what are some of the benefits of working for this company in San Diego?
It's to you, Charles.
I'm happy to repeat the question too, if that was a lot.
No, I heard it. So I was just waiting who should answer first, but I'll go ahead. So I chose Verimatrix mainly because, I mean, San Diego is amazing, first of all, but besides that, like, the company is very, how do I say, very structured, and we implement a really good agile practice. It's very fluid. We change according to each of our teams, and then everyone's really, really nice, and we work together to help each other. That's the main point of why I joined. And also, right now, I think the media business is doing really well since everything's kind of remote. Security is a very, very good opportunity for you to go into, especially content security, like what we do. specifically, I do just securing like streams, like for example, HBO or Netflix, those over-the-top streams. People can actually take advantage and restream that service and make their own kind of streaming service. So our software prevents that, and that's like a huge, I guess, huge mission and huge accomplishment that we're able to solve by doing watermarking and providing different encrypted content so that people can't do that. And so that's what I see, and that's why I joined Verimatrix. Yeah.
Awesome.
AJ, do you want to add something?
I think you're muted.
He said that he was
AJ, you're muted.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
he can't hear you. So why don't I try to respond from our viewpoint? I think it's very important when you go into a new position, Charles has done, to find a home that you feel comfortable with and somewhere that you can grow and you can get stronger with every day. There was an old adage that says when you start with somebody, just sit there. Don't immediately try to make an impact. I'm not so sure that's true. I always try to do my best and try to wow my customers as best I can from the very beginning. But I guess there is something to be said about having some false starts that might give people a false impression of your capability when you first begin. So that might be a point of suggestion for being a new position. You certainly want to utilize your strengths, but also learn as you're going. Every time you go into a new position, no matter what it is, there is going to be a learning curve, a lot of new things that you have never experienced before, let alone the fact that you'll be interacting with a lot of your associates that you'll be having a good time with. Some people maybe be more strict than others, and that's a difficult thing to anticipate when you first start. I think as far as management is concerned, the number one thing that I would recommend is communication, that you always want, at least on a weekly basis, to let your boss and all of the people above them know what you've accomplished in the last week. Even if it's just a small thing, and maybe it's negative, you found out this didn't work, that's okay. But you want to make sure that you are communicating effectively and getting feedback from above and from your associates. Everyone around you will see your work, and you want to encourage them to give you suggestions for improvement, and of course kudos when you do a good job. So you go. So AJ, do you got a microphone yet?
Yep. Can you guys hear me now?
Yep.
You got it.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm in San Diego from past 6 years now, and I joined Verimatrix because I wanted to move further into the career wherein I don't get stuck to doing the working on the old school on-premises databases and doing the traditional data warehousing. I wanted to go ahead and start working on big data and other analytics products and portfolios. I wanted to explore and expand my career. And Verimatrix was just starting a team on the analytics side at that point of time. And I really liked the values and the benefits that the company provides. And the opportunity here, it was more like a startup environment when I joined in. And I got an opportunity to work on everything and and openly without any restrictions, trying exploring new things. And I still feel there is a lot in this company, and there are people here are very open-minded and definitely look for anyone who wants to try something new and bring something added, something of a value to the team. And that's what pulled me here, and I'm here because of that.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate all of the insight and just giving us a little picture of what it's like as in terms of a corporate culture and what it's like in your positions. So that leads to our next question of what are some of the advantages of working in the San Diego tech ecosystem? And this is directed toward anyone that is willing to answer or has some insight they'd like to give.
Well,
So
are you speaking specifically to, I couldn't, you sort of broke up a little bit. So were you specifically speaking to healthcare or in general?
Just in general, like working in San Diego and being surrounded by all these awesome companies, do you feel like there are some advantages of being situated in San Diego within this specific tech ecosystem?
I have to laugh because I just started surfing, so that I just started learning how to do that. That's certainly an advantage. I would think that from a technical viewpoint, you have some outstanding universities, UCSD being the leader, and a lot of resources, supercomputer systems that are available, and a lot of very dynamic companies that are found throughout the area. So it's just an exciting place to live. Of course, the climate is also a real plus. I think the negative has to be the housing prices and that sort of thing. The cost of living is fairly significant, but fortunately, I think the employers realize this and they try to compensate you appropriately.
Definitely. Well, it's awesome to hear that you took up surfing and that you've been enjoying your time here.
Oh yeah.
definitely for me, San Diego is definitely a addictive place. Sorry, Tom, did I interrupt you?
Nope, I was just laughing.
It's really an addictive place. I came in here and I didn't feel like going anywhere else to work. The weather here is pretty awesome, and technically this place is growing. It's becoming a hub for new startups, and there have been many big companies coming in and opening offices in San Diego as well. So this is the right time, I believe, for anyone who's trying to look at working in this place. This is gonna be a hotspot pretty soon, and right now it's not as crowded as the Silicon Valley or the Bay Area, I would say, but it has got its own touch, and it's calmer than I would say the Bay Area, and that's something that works for me, and that's what attracts people over here, I believe.
Definitely.
And
Yeah, I
it's not
agree.
like it is like technically it's far behind on the technologies that we use over here in San Diego or in the Bay Area, because I've worked with certain set of companies uh, which are on the East Coast side, and their tech stack seems to be pretty much on a backlog than what we work on over here in California in general. And San Diego is keeping up with the pace for sure.
Awesome. Thank you for your insight. And Charles, do you have anything to add on that question?
Well, I think AJ was just said everything that I was gonna say, but to add on top, I guess I've also worked on the East Coast in Boston, and it's just over there it's more of a financial district, and so they put more emphasis on VCs that have money, just like money is their central focal point. So IT services and people who are engineers come in second. So it's just a different kind of culture there. So here on the West Coast, I believe a lot of the engineers are treated like entrepreneurs. People, we create value, create things. So it's just very, very different. Of course, there's advantages in terms of money too on the East Coast. Like you're for sure, your startup or whatever will have a higher chance of profiting. On the West Coast, it's different. Like you have more innovative ideas. You have all these new tech. People go for the tech, and it's like pretty amazing. And then San Diego, though, like so I've been to Bay, been to Boston. It's like a lot more fast paced. So you have less time to really think like your long term thing. And I've also noticed just engineers here, they suffer way less burnout. All my coworkers are 10 plus years at the same company, Verimatrix, and I just really appreciate how people here can just pursue their passion in addition to do software engineering for such a long time, and it's just very unique, I'd say, in San Diego, and that's what I want to put in. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, it sounds like you all have a lot of experience, and based on your previous experiences and your roles at different companies and your career journey altogether, what advice would you give students that are trying to figure out where their career destination is?
So,
Such as,
go ahead, complete your question.
oh, yep, I was just gonna say that in terms of like choosing your career destination, do you have any tips or advice to give students about maybe strategies to approach that process in terms of looking at different positions all throughout the country and just understanding what you want out of the position and what you expect from the area you live, things of that nature?
Can I nominate Thomas to go first? Because he seems like he would have a lot more to
Sure.
say for this.
Definitely, yes.
Wow, that's a very broad question that you raised, Emma. I think I will divert slightly from that and try to emphasize what I should be the goal for a person who is just starting out in software or in engineering, that what they should look for and how should they approach finding a position and finding something they're going to be happy with for a long time. You have to realize too at the on-site that the companies that hire you, they're investing time and money as well to try to grow you with the hopes that you will contribute to them in a big way over a period of time that you're working there. Not to say that they were expecting you to stay there forever, but they are expecting you to make a contribution and it to be a meaningful investment on their part. So with that as a backdrop, to try to address what you should be looking for, the first thing is what you want to think from your heart. What is it that you like to work in? Do you want to work in predicting things, which is something that excites me, to try to predict what's going to happen next? That's one of my passions. Or perhaps like my son. My son is he loves to create video games, so he's a gamer and he enjoys the dynamics of creating that sort of thing. I have 4 sons, by the way. Another son who works at Microsoft, he is very much into the technical side of trying to create, let's say, innovative solutions. He's working in areas where they are doing virtual reality type of things, and they are trying to do a better job with both the video and with the audio, and he's a project manager doing that. So my point is simply that you want to find something that you want, that you reach down inside your heart, and that's what you want to work in. Maybe it's medical systems. Maybe you want to make a contribution there. I do feel for AJ's comment about I didn't want to just sit around and work in database systems forever, but that's not to say that you want to skip that experience. You want to create a resume of your experience, and you want it to be full. You don't want it to be just a narrow peak. You want it to be full. So you want to have that database structures. You want to have geometric detail. You want to have, when I'm saying geometric detail, I'm talking about three-dimensional modeling of geometry. That is something that is very important in all areas. You want to have an understanding of everything from high-level computer languages all the way down to machine language. You need to understand that, and perhaps a little bit of experience in each of those areas. That's something that you may not be using right away or at all, but you have to have that in-depth understanding. For example, let's say you were working in a graphics processing unit system, and something goes wrong, and you need to understand how the threads are being used and being diminished throughout. And that wouldn't work for you if you only have an understanding of, say, the graphics layer at the highest level. You want to strive, if you've decided that, yes, I want to work in computer programming, you want to become then a system analyst. You want to move in that direction. To have control over the design and the development of the software, because that's where all the fun is. I also want to throw out one other suggestion comment. I mentioned at the point at the beginning that what you want to do when you first get into a position. But one thing that I have discovered with the employees that we bring in is they are lacking a certain skill that is really, really important, and that is writing and documentation. I'm not just talking about doing documentation in the code. That's certainly important, but you also need to create documentation of what you are working on and document it thoroughly so that whoever follows you will have a good understanding of what's going on, but perhaps even more important, you will understand what's going on by creating those documents and understanding and creating simple flow diagrams, for example, of what it is. And in many cases, you're not going to be put into a brand new project that's starting from scratch. You're going to be going into some legacy system. That legacy system may be only 5 years old, but it could be 20 years old. And they might put you in a position where you are trying to fix bugs in software. And yet are bugs in software. I'm sure you're shocked to find that out. But in order to fix those bugs, you need to understand the structure of the software. You need to dive into the documentation and dive into the code and get that documentation clear enough that it can be understood. And what I have found is that the new graduates that come into our company seem to lack that skill level. I don't know whether it's just not emphasized in the college. And they also lack communication skills in terms of writing up details of what's needed to be done and what they have accomplished. So that's my soapbox. I'm going to pass it on to someone else.
Yeah, well, that's awesome information. I mean, truly invaluable information, just great advice and insight. And I guess I can lead into my final question, which is, right now, colleges and universities are operating at almost a completely virtual environment. So what advice would you give people who only know college in a virtual context to optimize their experience to set themselves up for success later on in their careers?
Who wants to start? I feel like I'm dominating this conversation here. I don't mean to do that.
Okay, I'll contribute to this. So,
all right, thank you, Charles.
Yeah. So although I don't have extensive experience in a virtual environment, I did in I went to UCSB, which is University of California, Santa Barbara. There's an option for you to sometimes kind of like skip going to lecture by watching videos on this platform they use. It's called Panopto. And so for me, what actually motivated me to succeed and really just be able to continue on in a virtual environment, because you can't attend a lecture, you don't have that interaction with the professor. Of course, you can chat, but it's still very, very difficult, and it's just different. Like, you don't have that real-time experience. So for me, when I got lazy sometimes, I'll be honest, I got lazy sometimes, and sometimes I skip class, so I watch the videos. So some of my friends do go to lecture, but most of them don't. But when they do watch the Panopto lectures with me, when they also skip, we usually either voice chat. Like a good way would be like your group, your study group would voice chat, but especially now during COVID. But before, we would just gather up together, go to like some hall or study hall, and then we would just share different insights that each one of us have, and that actually builds up your rapport. And in the future, when you start working in software development teams, it's like when you talk and interact, it makes ideas more flow around, and it's just more fluid, and you have all these different ideas, and then you all reach a consensus to choose an idea or go with one way after doing some analysis. That is a huge, huge thing that will definitely help you later on. And also another thing is like, from my experience, I wish when I first graduated, I was more humble to my older seniors. They know a lot more. And so because they're seniors, they're very nice. They know like all the ins and outs of different, all the politics too, honestly. And so they won't like really go out of their way to like really reprimand and help you, because it's just like how they've as they grow as an engineer, that's how they became. And so I really suggest like being humble. When I first exited college, I was not exactly the most polite person. I was pretty direct, and so being able to just like listen really well is also a huge thing. And so for people in virtual environments, especially like with less and less interaction, I feel like just being able to get together in terms of over a Zoom meeting, participate in a group and study together, that's a huge thing. And I built connections with some of my friends who they're now at Facebook, Google, one at another startup, and like it's definitely the connection will help you later on, especially now during with everything that's virtual. And so that's what I would say. Yeah.
Thank you. Is there anything else that anyone would like to add? And if not, I will invite Vern up to ask some questions as well. You're welcome to go.
I think Charles's comments are right on, and I tried to express that earlier when I was coming up with a poorly worded quote, which was something like, "Don't just do something, sit there," which means that when you first get in, you want to see the lay of the land, and you want to make sure you fit well. And it's very important that if you don't know the answer to something, ask and try to find some senior people there that can answer your questions. They would be very flattered if you come and ask them and say, "Well, I don't understand what this is. Can you help me? Can you explain this to me?" And just by virtue of asking, they will do it. Then they will befriend you, and they will feel proud that you will be improving with time. So yes, you need to be humble when you first start, and you need to be outspoken to the point of asking questions on things you understand and trying to get support, and try to get support from the senior members within the group, because they know a lot, and they'll think you to be a smart ass kid or something if you try to outmaneuver them. You want to work within that system and within that goal. That's not to say you don't want to be creative and you don't want to express yourself. You do, but you do need to do it in a very kind way. And one other thing that Charles mentioned that it just occurred to me, I'm not sure he meant what he implied, but communication, verbal communications is extremely important within the company, especially now in this virtual environment. If you feel nervous presenting your work to someone else and you feel frightened, I would recommend joining an organization like Toastmasters to help get you over that fear and help you get to a point where you can spontaneously explain what you're doing and use good English and use proper phrasing of the words and presenting the thing in a spontaneous way. So again, it's communication in writing, communication verbally, and then expressing your skills. The final point is you never stop learning. And that means you learn a lot within that company that you're working with, but also if that company does offer the ability to take classes at the university, go ahead and do that and extend your knowledge and become more knowledgeable, and even go get a master's degree or even get a PhD if that's appropriate. So it's your learning never stops. You need to keep working all the time. And that's really important. I tell you from a person that is by far probably older than the three of these guys together.
Well, I appreciate all of your advice and sharing some resources that helped you along the way and helped you develop as a professional. So at this time, I'd like to invite Varen up here to ask some questions that he has as well.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for taking the time to be here today. We really appreciate all your answers to our questions before. I'm just going to ask a couple of questions we have pre-submitted by students in TSE. So the first question is, what should we as college students be doing to prepare for internship interviews and hearing back when applying? Anybody can enter this, maybe Ajay or Charles, since you're currently in an engineering position.
So, I would say, like, when you graduate out, it's really important. It's not like what you learn, you don't end up doing the same thing in your companies. It's sticking to the basics is the most important thing. It's basically whatever the core concepts and what do you say, the whatever the core concepts or programming languages or whatever tools and technologies that you learn or whatever you work on the theory part in your colleges, that's really important. So when you're looking when you're looking for an internship or when preparing for an internship interview or any of that sort, it's important that you know what you are good at, and at least it's there. No one is expecting you to end up come up to an interview and end up writing a app or any kind of deep depth coding. Uh, Sticking to the basics, knowing what you are answering or answering the questions sincerely is more important than uh, thinking anything else. Don't fake yourself. Be what you are. Try to be yourself. That's more important.
Yeah, awesome. Definitely agree, and I think a lot of people have had that experience in applying for their internships. So it looks like Benson has asked a question in the chat. What is one thing from your entire career that makes you most proud? Maybe Thomas or Charles.
I'd have to say my children, but I think you are speaking as to what technical accomplishments, correct? Well,
Yes, I think that's the intention of
I've been
Benson's question.
fortunate enough to have gotten a lot of notoriety and awards, etc. So at the moment, they were very fulfilling. But I'm not here to toot my horn. But as far as technical accomplishments, I would think that we developed probably one of the very first handheld computers. This was quite a few years ago. It was so far ago that we were using, initially, it was like Windows 3 or something like that. It was very, very primitive. I actually have a copy of it on the wall here, a physical article. Weighed about 8 pounds. It was like a brick, but it had a touch screen and it was interactive, and it was used for inspections, etc. Unlike what you see today when the UPS guy comes in and wants you to sign something, or you see these technologies around all the time. So we were pioneering doing that. I think technical accomplishment that you find that eventually become an application in some way are especially fulfilling. I think that if you can do something that you feel that is going to contribute in a big way, then that's going to make you happy.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have another pre-submitted question, and this one is specific to Charles. So you mentioned in the introduction that you've been at Oracle, Boston, Kogo Labs, and now you're at Verimatrix. So what are some important aspects that factored into your decision-making process? What did you look for in those companies before kind of deciding to work for them?
So I guess like this is a really hard question for me. So I worked at Oracle. It was a big company. It was great. They offered a lot of financial benefits. They offered just allow me to even take classes at Stanford, USC, and then they paid for everything. But what I was looking for was at the time, I'm just more like I want to create something, I want to build something, and just with the minimal amount of cost or people, I wanted to build something innovative. That's what actually made me go into a startup incubator, live the dream, and then just trial and error. Did a bunch of hackathons, and that's basically what motivates me, like just building new things, being really interested in new technologies at that time. Yeah, so that's like why why after I joined Oracle, I decided to go to incubator in Boston, really try to build out my ideas, meet people with the same, same goal to build something new, like just exploring. And so that was why I went to Boston. And then after Boston, I tried a lot, seen a lot of, at the incubator, there's a bunch of startups. I saw a lot of startups start, fail. There's just majority, it was a really good experience to see. Got a lot of big data experience there too. And just, I got to touch everything. That's mainly why. And so after Boston, I chose to come back because I realized that at Verimatrix, just in the end, I feel like for me, not for everybody, but for me, the people you work with are super, super important. Like they're the people that motivate you. And then also the chemistry is super important in the success of a team. And so that's actually my reason for rejoining Verimatrix and coming back. And so in the end, it's for me, it's just me. Like other people have different goals, like they want to be the next CEO or something or build a new thing. But over the process, throughout my career, I realized that I prefer working with nice people who collaborate and have a common goal, and that's super important. And Verimatrix was it for me. And yeah, that's mainly it. But overall, like I'd say that if I were to go back, like I would suggest you, like if you do get into one of those big companies, maybe try to stay there for a while. I did stay there for a while. You can definitely take advantage of all those resources that the companies provide you and stay long enough to just contribute back for the amount they put in and invested in you. And so, like Thomas said earlier, it's super, like, it's just a good, like, being a good Samaritan to be giving back for the years they put into you, and also for your own development. Like big companies and organizations can provide you a lot more. Verimatrix too, they provide you a lot of just resources like side learning and everything, and just take advantage of it. Grow yourself before you go out, venture into the world, because there's a lot more, like, I think, like, just staying put and learning a lot more before you go out will give you a higher chance of success if you want to aim for that big goal. And so I really agree with Thomas, what he said, and he actually made me learn a lot just from talking from experience. I wish I met him earlier in this call. And so, yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, basically. So,
yeah, thank you. Thank you for that answer. We have a couple more questions. I think these are more directed towards Ajay. So you worked on a bunch of different teams, Video Content Authority, you mentioned, Video on Demand. So how would you recommend interns get the most out of their experience, whether it's on any of those kinds of teams that you worked on? How do you recommend interns get the most out of their summers or work at a company like Verimatrix, either work from home or in an in-person environment?
So, as Thomas said earlier, it's important. The communication is the most important part. So, be it communicating verbally or uh, uh, listening to the communications that you get from the team is very important. And when you work in any of the team, like when I joined here, I joined in as a level 1 data engineer, and I had no knowledge about what all tools and technologies that the team uses. I was pretty much centric to working on Oracle database and ETL tool, Informatica, and then later on when I joined in here, there was a portfolio of tools and databases that I'm supposed to work with, and a bunch of programming languages. My experience was very limited to the tools and very basic programming. So the most important thing that you can do during the internship is not about going and developing something brand new. It's about understanding the culture, how the corporate culture works, how the teams function, and how they contribute, how they communicate with each other. So that will be the best thing to learn, and at the same time, you will have opportunity to learn new tools and technologies. Make the best use of your time to explore these things and try to understand try to understand yourself, seeing where you fit in, and uh, uh, try to understand what should you do next. That will let you explore the answers to the questions that you have in your mind. What should be my path next? When you come into an internship, you get a chance to learn from very experienced people. So that, I would say, it would be the best thing to do is listen to them, try to explore different aspects, different things in a company, and try to get answers to the questions that you have in your mind with respect to your career, and proceed further accordingly.
All right, yeah, definitely. Thank you for the answer. I think a lot of people are anxious or interested to learn about how their internships will work remotely. So what do you recommend people do to get the most out of their virtual internships? Because it's definitely not the same as having your mentor sitting next to you at a desk, right?
Yes. So before I joined Verimatrix, I was working in a consulting firm, and I worked for very big customers. And mostly we used to work remote, and all the on-site teams used to. I used to work from India, and many of the folks used to work in different countries, and uh, all of our works used to be uh, virtual. Like we have meetings, and frankly speaking, this, at least we have now this teleconferencing. And doing teleconferencing 10 years back, it used to be a huge setup, and people coming and sitting in a meeting room and doing all that kind of setup was really not easy. Now we have got a lot of tools and technologies on that front to help us. Though being virtual, we have the opportunity to be together virtually. So make use of all the available forums that you have. We have got chat forums, and then you can call people directly as in when you need. You can speak to your mentor. So when you join a company, there you will have opportunities, like whoever is your mentor, you will have opportunities to have a one-on-one with your mentors, and you will have opportunity to interact with your team members in a environment. It's on the IT side or on the computer side, computer engineering side. In this career, uh, people are very open, and communication is the key. So it's really important you try to express yourself. Don't keep it to yourself. It's really, as Thomas said earlier, it's really important to ask the questions. So if you ask the question, the person who's trying to help you, or whoever you are asking this question, will be really elated to answer the question for you. Don't be stubborn to yourself, or thinking in a way. I'm saying these words because I've been in that place, and I used to be super overconfident when I initially joined my took my job at Tata Consultant Services earlier. So I used to think I'm good at everything and I don't need anyone's help. That's a really wrong approach, and that hit me back very hard in the initial phases of my career. So that was a good thing actually, because it happened very initial in my career and I learned it. Now you guys have an opportunity to know this. So it's better. See, the world. The thing is, there is a lot to learn in this world. So
Yeah,
stay
definitely.
hungry, stay foolish. Yeah, you might have heard the name of this book. Uh, it's I like the phrase of the title of this book itself. It's There's a lot. You are just starting your career, so it's good for you to ask questions, try to learn new things, try to communicate with all the mentors. Doesn't matter. At times, you might end up asking some stupid question, and at times, when you ask a stupid question, not everyone answers the question very politely. So you should be ready to take it.
Yeah,
Don't
definitely.
feel shy of
Mm.
asking wrong questions. It's really important. Ask stupid questions. That's fine. That's totally fine. You will learn a lot, even with wrong answers or correct answers. Whatever answer you get from people, you will learn a lot. So it's
Yeah,
really
thank
a
you.
key to communicate.
Yeah, thank
Well
you
said,
definitely
well
for that.
said. And
I think,
I like to,
yeah,
I know
go ahead.
we're running out of time, so I'd like to make some points that I think the audience would benefit from. And my first point is your resume. The resume that you put together, and you do need a resume. You need something in writing. And again, communication is the key. So you have to make sure the spelling is right, thing is proper. But make sure you understand the resume, which should be like a page, is your sales brochure. You are selling
Yep.
yourself. So the resume has to emphasize your strengths. I've seen so many resumes and I think, what does he do? What has he done? What has she done? You want to have a list of key accomplishments and bulletize them that says, oh, this is what I did this. I don't care how trivial it might seem. If you show accomplishments, then that gives a lot of wealth and a lot of strength to your resume. You don't have to have that much as far as business experience or education if you have accomplishments. Which brings me to my second point, which was a question that was asked earlier about what do you do in your interview. In the interview, you want to have those accomplishments as seeds. And if the person on the other side of the table brings up a point that you can then use that accomplishment and say, oh, gee, yes, I did some work in that area and this is what I did. And you talk about what you accomplished.
Yeah,
And you want to do it
absolutely.
with great enthusiasm. The enthusiasm is why people hire. It's because they like you and because you're enthusiastic. They're not so sure how good you might be, but they figure they can cheat you. So just come in with it with a real positive attitude, have a list of your key accomplishments, and when the opportunity comes up, throw them out there and tell them what you have accomplished.
Yeah, definitely. And good luck to everyone who's attending who's on that application grind at the moment. I think, Ajay, that's Steve Jobs quoted that Stay Hungry, Stay Foolish book in his Stanford commencement speech. So I think that's where a lot of people know it from. But anyway, I'll hand it back to Emma. Thank you so much for answering all of our questions and being here with us today. We really appreciate all of your time, Thomas, Charles, and Ajay. And so, yeah, I think Emma has a couple of things to say to conclude this event, but thank you all for coming.
Great. Thanks, Varun. So I just want to basically echo what he's saying, and I just want to thank everyone for attending this event. I had such a great time learning about all the various facets of the software engineering industry with Verimatrix and GCAS and all of you. So if you'd want to watch this event, you will be able to find it on Tech San Diego's YouTube channel in the coming days. In the meantime, please feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel to watch previous events. And I would like to give a special thank you to Verimatrix and GCAS for participating and TSE for partnering with us. Thank you for your hard work in helping this event come together. So I want to reiterate again, thank you everyone for attending this event. And I hope you have a great night and hope to see you at future events hosted by the JTI. Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.